If someone were to ask me, Wes, of all the games ever made, what is your all-time favorite? I would say Tetris.
What? What the f?
Now, I know that's misleading based on the title, but Tetris is my favorite game of all time, but in my brain I honestly find it hard to call it a game based on the current context of what gaming has become. Its formula is kind of this peak of human creativity thing to me, like the pyramids or Reese's peanut butter cups. You can pick it up and put it down at a whim. It's a malleable, simple, wonderful concept, and even though there are amazing games like Luminous that expand on a similar idea, nothing can compete with Tetris. Now, I make this distinction for no reason whatsoever, really, besides the fact that I have an obsession with clarity. Tetris is a game, but you could almost not classify it as a game. It's almost like it's an activity in its own league. Just because I know someone in the future will say, what's your favorite game? I won't say Fallout, I'll say Tetris, and then I'll look like an asshole. But it's not a modern game, in my definition, or of my era, with high-tech graphics and combat, or an RPG with branching story paths and alien sex. Based on the current definition of gaming, it's barely a video game at all. It's almost like something that exists outside of what we think of as a video game. Something so brilliant and inherent that it feels like it's been around since the beginning of time, and it feels like something we as humans didn't create, but more something we have a responsibility to preserve, like a gift from some higher life form. So yeah, I kinda like it in an irrational sort of way. If that isn't obvious by now. Yes, the Tetris movie is amazing. I listened to the gaming historian's Tetris video to help me sleep at night. And yes, Alexei Pajitnov is my personal hero. But if we were talking in a more modern context and putting Tetris out of the running and where it belongs, and it belongs in a museum, then my instant, uncontested answer is Fallout. Fallout 3 was my first Fallout game after buying a very old 360 from a piercer that I used to work with named Danny. After that, I rolled right into New Vegas, and only a few years later, Fallout 4 came out. I didn't own a PC at the time, but as soon as I did, I played 1, 2, and Tactics. I was hooked. The world and atmosphere, the NPCs, the side quests, the art design. You gotta be fucking kidding me, the art design. I absolutely obsessed over it. The retro-futuristic look was what immediately grabbed me, which I know is not a rare statement. I'm not unique in saying that, obviously. There are many videos on YouTube that talk about Fallout's art design and how game-changing that was. The world Black Isle designed is insane, and I don't know if I've seen something so clearly take so much inspiration from other media and somehow craft a setting this unique at the same time. It is imitation at times, but it's never cheap imitation. But this is not Tetris. I'm not gonna gush like I did a minute ago. That Tetris rant was just like, I don't know what that was. I'm sorry. If you clicked on this video, I'd assume you're familiar with Fallout, so there's no reason to sell you on it. What I want to talk about is a big part of RPGs, and that is character creation. In most games, you have options for all sorts of ways to make a character match your vision, including tattoos. And as a tattooer, I'm kind of obsessed with the options a studio will give you for that particular aspect of a creator. Ever since I played Tony Hawk Underground, which has an insane amount of tattoo options, by the way, I've been in love with this feature. That said, some games do it better than others, and one of the biggest offenders in the not great category is Fallout 4. These things suck! Now, in character creation for Fallout 4, as most of you know, you don't actually start with tattoo options. You have to collect magazines as you play the game to earn new designs, which I actually love this concept. Having to hunt these designs down and adding them to your character as you play instead of the game outright giving them to you lends a lot to the idea of you breaking further and further away from a more conservative, straight-laced military or lawyer lifestyle you had in the old world, as the wasteland takes those sensibilities away from you and you become more entrenched in the brutal world. It's honestly brilliant from a role-playing standpoint. You can play as a man or woman who literally strips themselves of the superficial norms of polite society because your life is in ruins. You are hooked on drugs. You do murder people on the daily. Why not get a face tattoo and start a SoundCloud account? The problem that I have is that Bethesda does not take this concept nearly far enough. Not even close, in my opinion.
Uh-oh, someone has a hot take about modern Bethesda not committing to roleplay opportunities. Look out, everybody.
The biggest problem with the tattoos in vanilla Fallout 4 is there's like 5. And they're dumb as hell. Okay, so like 2 are okay. The best one is kind of ruined by how dorky it looks. They're all kind of done in a way where they're supposed to be based on American traditional designs, but they're just cartoons. And if you call traditional tats cartoony, I'm sorry to break it to you, but you don't get it. You don't know what you're talking about. These designs are what a person who calls traditional tattoos cartoon style thinks traditional is. And those people are wrong. They're just wrong.
The only way you'll ever be right is to repeat everything I say, word for word. Until then, You're wrong.
But styles and looking kind of dumb aside, why were there only 5? Well, as I said in the waist, each issue of Taboo Tattoos has a corresponding design. What I learned while doing research for this video revealed they had more, but apparently were cut for reasons, I guess. According to the wiki, there are several covers, and based on this cover here, they had apparently designed 19 total tattoos. And I'm sorry, some of these are way better than the ones we got. This dagger is sick, all of these skulls are amazing, and oh my god. That's the Sailor Jerry Aloha monkey. Like, that is iconic. The fact that that is not an option is a straight up crime. There's a Dragonborn skull. I mean, come on! This greaser skull? Like, how did this not make it in? It's so good! I know some of you don't care about this stuff, but I really love tattoo options in games, and I just can't understand why we didn't get most of these amazing alternatives. I've looked around online, and other than a few Reddit threads mentioning the tattoo options being ugly or disappointing, there's no official reason all this seemingly simple content was cut. The easiest answer is they needed to cut stuff or they ran out of time, and in reality, the tattoo options aren't a priority in a game that already runs as poorly as a newly released Bethesda game tends to. But what really surprises me is that with the introduction of the Creation Club for Fallout 4 and them already having these designs, how did Bethesda just not sell a $10 tattoo pack? I mean, I'm stupid. I have money. I'd have bought it. Honestly, I doubt we'll ever get any answers this late in the game's life, and it's very unlikely these cut designs will ever make their way back into the game. Fortunately for all of us, Bethesda did add mod support for consoles in May of 2016, so no matter what you play on, you can at least get some community-made tattoos for your characters. Unpaid labor saves the day again, Todd. So, all that said, we have 5 tattoos to look at today, and I have grievances. So, let's pick them apart and see what went wrong, starting with... So the first piece on this list is actually one of the tattoos I genuinely do not hate. Its Associated magazine, Taboo Tattoos Issue 1, is located in Mass Pike Tunnel, which is the underground section of the Massachusetts Turnpike beneath Boston. The design of this tattoo is okay. It depicts a wishbone sitting across a 4-leaf clover with the number 13 underneath it. It basically looks like a Friday the 13th tattoo, except you weren't spineless and you decided not to ask your artist to remove the number 13 from the design. Like a coward! Personally, if I reworked it, I'd lose the wishbone. The clover would have been much stronger on its own without the 13. It gets the contradictory luck, bad luck motif across, and this random golden fork really does nothing for me. A lot of these designs also suffer from too much color being packed wall to wall, and no skin breaks, which makes them overly graphic and has them come off looking like fake stick-on tattoos or carnival face paintings. For those who don't know, skin breaks allow tattoos to breathe and add to the longevity by using the client's skin as a highlight. Since I love shouting out my friends in these videos, here's some work from my buddy Jared that shows a few excellent examples of this. Here you can see how designs have more room to breathe because he doesn't just pack one solid tone all the way across, and in areas where it does go to the line, he at least adds variation to the color. I personally would have whipped out the green so it fades into the skin tone. A good way to soften these, by the way, is to use the transparency slider, which I know a lot of people overlook. I bring it to about 80 or 90%, it lightens the tattoos and blends them to the skin a lot better. Honestly, big shout out to Bethesda for adding that slider on all the facial markings, including grime and bruises, and cuts and scars. They didn't need to, and I personally think it's a nice touch. So why don't I completely hate this one? Well, as the list continues, you're going to notice a theme, and that theme is mostly based on size and placement being the determining factor on whether or not I hate the tattoo. This design on the cheek, it just works for me. Faded out with the slider, peeking out of the hair or headwear, it just looks great. Honestly, if we could freely move these tattoos to any area of the face, I'd be a lot more forgiving. But each design is specifically attached to certain areas of the face, and you cannot move them. But this design and placement, solid 3 out of 5. As soon as I find this magazine, the 13 is on my character every playthrough. And next up, we have... Why? Is maybe the worst one out of them all. And honestly, we're not even halfway through. Taboo Tattoos number 2 is where you get the tattoo called, unsurprisingly, Anchor.
And all I feel is anger.
You can find this issue at Thicket Excavations in a trailer or some shit. I don't know. I never even collect this one after the first playthrough. What really sucks is this place is right next to Sanctuary, so it may be one of the very first designs you get, which fortunately really helps lower the bar of expectations early on. God damn it, do I hate this thing. The design is so good. It's a classic. I mean, it's clean, I like the simple red ends, the stars are fine, but what in the Deathclaw dick is this placement? You could have put this on the throat or the cheek. It may have been my favorite tattoo option if it was just on the throat. Easily a 1 out of 5 just for god-awful placement. The design is just an anchor. Why did we do this to him? Remove the stars and put it on the cheek. I know people with that tattoo in real life. This feels like a sick joke. Radiation could have rotted out all the gray matter in your dumb head, and you still wouldn't think this was a good idea or a good place for this tattoo. It's so obviously ugly and dumb, it doesn't even need to be elaborated on. Forehead tattoos are only good when they're very specifically designed for that area, and this just feels like a Bethesda fuck it moment. Like, this is beyond lazy. They didn't even think about it. They just slapped this in the game because if you do think about it for literally 1 second, the throat is obviously such a better spot for this one. Fuck this tattoo. 0 out of 5. Next is... Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everything in between, we have reached the pinnacle of Fallout 4's tattoo offerings. Being the only issue of taboo tattoos in an unmarked location, that being Concord Civic Access, which is basically the sewer beneath Concord. You know that city where the game went from like a 10 to a 7 for most people because you were given power armor and fight a Deathclaw with a minigun like 2 hours in? Oh, and you meet Preston.
You had to butt in and ruin everything!
Another settlement has sent word that they need our help. I'll mark it on your map.
I'll kill you!
Well, if you go through that Deathclaw hole,
Yeah, boy.
or one of the less funny alleyway entrances, which, yeah, they're less fun because I can't refer to them as a Deathclaw
Yeah,
hole,
boy.
you will find issue number 10. Fuck. Yeah, the issues go from 1
2, 10.
12, 16. It's come to the point where the numbering system alone is mocking me by reminding me of all the better cut tattoo options. This tattoo, though, is, in my opinion, the best one in the game, and I seek it out immediately to put on my character every playthrough. Which I understand sounds kind of dumb, being this derpy-looking piece of shit. What are those feet? Why is one talon as big as 2 of his head? This looks like a high school football team mascot that was drawn by the drunkest janitor on campus. Don't you guys hire professional artists to put this stuff in the game? Like, you can't blame poor art quality on the apocalypse. Diamond City's apparently got surgeons moonlighting as tat wizards who could pack solid white into throats. Either they know literal magic, or Amazon is still in business, and tattoo kits still qualify for 2-day shipping anywhere in the wasteland. That was a joke for all my scratchers in the audience who buy their gear off Amazon. Not that I would ever do that. I pay like $1,000 per pen, which is definitely reasonable and the only route to go. I would never buy a $200 Amazon pen. Couldn't be me. The point is, if you can put the tattoo in that strong, you can learn to draw a better eagle. Ugly design aside, I still think this is the best one in the game, and really it's the best for the same reasons the others are the worst. And that is placement. This may be one of the only ones that form fit to even a slight degree. The wings poking out of your chest armor and the blur you get at a distance makes this pretty pleasing aesthetically, and honestly, it's just kind of badass. Like, it's a throat eagle. I mean, even a shitty throat eagle is still a throat eagle, and that's pretty sick at the end of the day. 4 out of 5 for me personally. If you don't agree, I would say that's reasonable. It has problems, but I just want to remind you the bar is very, it's down there. The bar is very low. And the next one is, I think it's called like Radiation Skull or something. It's called... Who named it that? Okay. So the reason it's called Skulls Are Hip is because it has a cover featuring some of these cooler designs we didn't get. I would honestly argue that of all the designs on this cover, they gave us the worst one. In-game, it's actually called Radiation Skull, and I know that because I played a little bit to get footage for this video, and it's called Radiation Skull. I'm not crazy. It's called Radiation Skull in there, but like on the wiki, it's called... They go with the title of the map. Whatever. Fuck you, Todd. I don't know what to tell you. The names are all over the place with like the last 2 entries. I hate this. I hate this so much. They really just put a giant... They really just put a giant yellow circle on their forehead. Like, this is the shit you wake up with after a night of drinking too much with your friends. This is a prank. Or maybe it's chem addiction. I can see that. Maybe I was too harsh on the forehead thing, because I've seen junkies in real life get some wild shit tattooed on their faces and foreheads. Okay, fair play. Maybe you're a chem addict, whatever. 1 out of 5 though, still sucks. Like, I'm not gonna give it more credit because chem usage can justify it. Like, I'm not going that route. If I see an NPC with this in game, I'm just gonna start shooting. If I don't, they're 100% gonna ask me for spare change at any given moment. No, trash. This one is issue 12, Irish Pride Industries, Shipyard. If you see it there, just leave it because it's garbage and I'm done with it. I do think that's the last forehead one. No! Oh god, I forgot about this one. I know I said the anchor was the worst, but this one's the worst one for many reasons. Okay, so first, a bad design in a bad spot is whatever. Like, I get that. But a good design, which this is, in a bad spot, that's just wasted potential. You're fucking with me at that point. It breaks my heart way worse than just bad design, bad location. This one's kind of weird all the way around. So the issue is 16, and it can be found in Vault 81. One of my favorite quest locations in the game because that's where you save a cat, let a child die, and meet best girl Kiri. Don't tell Kate. On the wiki, issue 16 is titled Sailor, and that description matches in the game cover, which is a sailor being tattooed by automated machines. Machines taking my job dock this thing so many points. Then the weirdest part is, this cover and sailor theme is completely unrelated to the tattoo it grants you. Issue 12 kind of broke the consistency of the covers, but at least one of the designs on there was the one you got. For collecting issue 16 with a sailor theme and an issue called Sailor with the most detailed art of any cover featuring a sailor, you get a horseshoe that says bad luck. It's pretty weird, but this feels like a last-second scramble sort of thing. Like, wires definitely got a little crossed, and it feels kind of like an oversight or an honest mistake. Again, I know the tattoos are not the most important part of a massive RPG. This was made by people smarter than me. Like, I mean, they can't draw an eagle better than me. Like I said though, it feels like something got shuffled around or overlooked, because if you visit the wiki and scroll through all the designs, Bad Luck Horseshoe actually appears in its own magazine, issue number 4. My headcanon is that, for this choice, they had this amazing cover art, and even though it wasn't consistent with the other covers, they really wanted to put it in game for us to see, and honestly, I can't blame them for that. Other than these damn machines sending me to live under a bridge in a cardboard box, this art is sick. It's got that Norman Rockwell 1950s, 1960s Americana aesthetic, and I dig it. Okay, so long weird issue with number 16 preface over. I'll try to keep this one short. I hate this fucking thing. The design is so good. Like, just like the anchor, it could have been a favorite of mine had they just put it on the throat. It also would have been right on the side of the face where the clover was, but why are 3 out of 5 designs on the forehead? Why would they do that? They can't think this looks good. Okay, so the design is conceptually nice. They kind of overdid the black around every edge, but the blood tier is sick. The banners aren't terrible, but overall, I have seen the concept done better, but this isn't that bad. Based on the quality of everything else we've seen, I'd say it'd normally be like a 3 or 4 out of 5, but the placement again just absolutely tanks this thing. 2 out of 5, get it away from me. So that's all the tattoos in vanilla Fallout 4. And now Fallout 76, because 76 is nothing more than an insane attempt at turning the train wreck that is the creation engine into a multiplayer game. So they just took what 4 had and shucked every clothing option, hat, tattoo, whatever, into it like a recycling bin, and then asked for your credit card, which I fell for, by the way. I'm not talking trash. If you like 76, cool. So do I, actually. I have Fallout first. Todd has broken my spirit and manipulated me out of money that I had set aside to send my children to college with the Atom Shop. I do not ask you to respect me for my financial choices. Again, if they put more tattoo options in Creation Club, I would buy them. Because I am stupid. Enjoy what you like, but that game was busted as hell day one, which I did play it. I played the beta, I played day one, and while it's a much better game now, we shouldn't forget how messy it was in the beginning. So, we covered all the tattoos in Fallout 4. Why is the video still going? Well, as I was wrapping up writing this video, I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw this video from the official Fallout Instagram page. It's all about the new patch coming out on March 18th where you can take on a quest and become a ghoul, which is kind of cool. It has its own perk system and yeah, whatever, but what really caught my eye was right here. Stop. Is that a new face tattoo? and it's kinda awesome, and the placement doesn't suck ass. So yeah, a month after I get the idea for a video about these garbage face tattoos, Bethesda may be adding in new options. If the update is substantial and this video does well, maybe I'll do another round of reviews on any new tattoo content they add. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed the new format. I started writing scripts, and I think the channel is going to be heading in a more structured direction because honestly, video essays and retrospectives, those are the types of videos that I like to watch, so that's what I think I'd like to start doing. Yes, I know I'm too old to be a YouTuber. I get it. Thank you. You won't stop me. There are a lot of tattoos in video games and movies and generally throughout pop culture, and they don't always hire people to kind of consult on these things that are tattooers, so they'll go awry a lot of the time, and it's one of my favorite things to talk about. So if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe because I'm going to have more things like this coming very soon. I'm making a real go of this YouTube thing in 2025. It's my resolution this year. I'm gonna give it an honest shot. I love YouTube, and yeah, so I do want to say this though. If you love any of these tattoos, argue with me. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong. This is all so incredibly subjective, just like any other art form or any other type of tattoo. I really want to hear what you guys have to say on this if you've been a longtime fan of Bethesda games, and I mean, maybe I'll take a look at some of the some of the Starfield tattoo options, which you do get in the beginning character creator, which I'm sure all of you played and loved. But I want to hear what you guys think. I want to hear, you know, if you love the forehead radiation skull, that's awesome. Like, I want to know, you know, what your favorite tattoos are, and if there's any other tattoos in any other video games that you guys would like me to take a look at, please let me know in the comments below. I really, really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.